Hi there. In this video, we'll take a look at how we can make a video in Photoshop using images, transitions, fades, logo images, and audio tracks. So I'm going to open up Bridge, and I'm going to go into my Lesson 5 folder. We have a folder here called Video Candidates. So this contains a bunch of images. We're going to go through and use Bridge to pick the images that we're going to use for our Photoshop video. So if I double click on that, and if I click on one of these images, you can actually get a full screen preview by clicking on your spacebar. That gives you a full screen, and then to leave the preview you can click on your spacebar again. Also, you can go View and Review mode. This allows you to see a larger view. This one's full screen. Let me just resize my video so you can see it. There we go. So we have this arrow on the right hand side and the left hand side. Those allow us to navigate, and then when we want to discard any images from what we have selected, so basically this allows us to select them. They're all selected by default. We use this little arrow here. So I don't want this image, so I'm just going to click on my down arrow. I don't want that one either. I want to keep that one, so I'm just going to use my right arrow to navigate to my next one. I don't want that one, so I'm going to discard it. I don't want that one, so I'm just going to discard it. So now I have 4 images. I'm just going to save my collection, so basically everything I have here can be saved to a collection by clicking on our little plus sign here. And that gives me an editing mode, and I'll call this video images or some such thing. So now I have all of the images in something called a collection. This allows me to basically subdivide folders. It's kind of like categorizing things. It's like a custom taxonomy term or something like that, if you think of it that way. So now I'm going to open up Photoshop, and we'll take a look at how we can create videos with Photoshop. So I'm going to open up Photoshop here. Again, I'm just going to resize my video here. Just good enough. I'm going to choose Create New. And we get some options here. So I'm going to click on Film and Video over here on the right. I'm going to use HDTV 1080p. And I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it Marcus Video or something like that. Whatever you like. Everything else I'm just going to leave the same. And I'll choose Create. I'm presently using Window, Workspace, Motion. So the next thing I'm going to do is click on this Click to View Timeline. Create video timeline, that is, and that'll add a timeline so we can manipulate all of our objects. And now I'm going to drag that collection in. So if I got that video images selected here, if I choose Edit Select All, that selects everything in the collection, and then I'll just drag that collection onto my work area. Let go of my mouse. The first image is waiting for some additional settings before it actually gets placed. That's why we only see one so far. So I'm going to make this width 1920. And notice that the little constrain chain link is selected. So I'm going to type in 1920 and px. Otherwise it'll be %. I'm going to press Enter. And I'll press Enter one more time, and the second one comes in. Same thing. 1920 px. Enter. Enter. Now notice they all came in, and they're all on different layers. I want them all to be arranged through the timeline so it's one image after the other. So if I click on the first image, hold down Shift on my keyboard and click on the last image, now we have these track editing options under this little film. I'm going to choose new video group from clips. So that creates a video group. It removed the additional 3 tracks, and we've got this empty layer here we no longer need. So I'm just going to click on this layer here. I click on my little film reel again, and I choose delete track. So now we can take a look at what this thing looks like. If I just hit my play button or my space bar, we can see we get a video every 5 seconds by default. Now that's a little long, so I'm going to change all of these to be 2.5 seconds. So I'm just going to zoom using this little slider here. So it gives us a little bit more space. I'm just going to zoom out a bit. There we go. And I'm going to just drag, starting over here. Notice we get a little, it's a square bracket pointing to the left. The open side is pointing to the left. That's what I want. And I'm just going to drag that to be about it's basically 2 seconds and 15 frames is what we're aiming for, which is around 2.5 seconds. Close to 15 is good enough. There we go. Do the same thing there. For duration, I'm looking at, by the way, not end. 14, 15, that's close enough. And 215. And 215. And we can make this a little bit bigger now so we can see everything. There we go. I'm also going to rearrange these. I'm going to put the waterfall first. So if I just click and drag, notice you get a little black line. See that black line pops up? I'm just going to drag that until I see a black line there. It's kind of faint on the left edge. There we go. And I want it to be zip line, hiking, beach. So I'll just grab that zip line, black bar, hiking, and beach. Next thing I'm going to do is add crossfades between the images. Right now, if you drag your timeline, you'll see that the change is abrupt. So I want a nice smooth change from image to image. So I'm going to go and click on this little transition button. And I'm going to choose crossfade. And I'm going to drop it down to 0.3 seconds. Seconds is implied, you don't have to type the S. So you see it's 0.3 seconds. Then I'm just going to drag that between each of the images. So now if you drag your playhead, you see it's a nice gradual fade. So that takes care of all of the fades between the images. I want to add a fade from black at the beginning and a fade to white at the end. And I want a little bit more space for that. So I'm just going to drag the edge of this last video, this last image I should say, to 10 seconds. There we go. And I'm going to add a fade with black to the beginning. There we go. And a fade to white, fade with white to the end. Now I want to make that fade at the end a little longer. So I'm just going to drag it to 1 second. So if you click on that, you see you get the little double-headed arrow just on the duration. Just to 1 second there. There we go. Now if I watch my video, I can just drag that playhead or use this little button here to go to the beginning and see what it looks like. So it fades in from black, We have a nice transition between each image, and then it fades out over a bit longer to white. So I'm going to quickly save this. File save. And I'm going to put it in the Lesson 5 folder. I'll call it Marcus Video. PSD is fine. And choose Save. And OK. So that's a good start to creating our video. Again, we selected some images. We created a new video file in Photoshop. Dragged our images to the work area, resized them, laid them out across the timeline, added some transitions, and we're ready to do some more work in a future video. Thanks so much for watching.